bros, bras, aka ladies, and everything in between. We're here with Chad Stocking. Woo! And Megan Haynes, which is a little out of earshot. Hines? Hines. Oh, well, this is a very special pre-podcast breakdown because it has nothing to do with Crater Lake, which we're currently at right now. Oh, did I mention Duncan? There he is, huffing and puffing. Now, this is the pre-podcast breakdown for Matt Nevins and I, Aaron Gertz, talking about black holes, space holes, white holes, holes, and just everything. It's pretty much this episode's pretty much a rip-off of Startalk, except we don't know what we're talking about, but we use big words sometimes. And you know what? I think it's pretty interesting, dare I say, interstellar conversation. You like that, Chad?
I do, baby.
Give me 3. Wait, where's the third? It doesn't get much better than that, folks. Enjoy the goddamn show. Take me home, country roads, to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama. Take me home, country roads. That's all I got for you, buddy. That's all I got.
That was beautiful.
This has nothing to do with the subject matter. But first, identify yourself. Earthling
Matt Nevins.
This is your second rodeo on this slilly, slappy little podcast.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you for being here. I'm gonna open up this Bud Light. Ooh, it's a sound because we're talking space. We're talking cosmic questions. We're talking cosmic queries, galaxies, universes, and I realized this today. You know, we're a couple of dudes. They could easily be outside on our backs, covered in mosquito spray, staring at the stars, the infinity of the universe. And you know what? You can't spell gaze without gaze, you know what I mean? It's a couple of dudes enjoying the stars. Yeah, brother! We're starting this one off hot and spicy. I am so sorry for that. But yeah, I was watching on Netflix recently. It's called Black Hole Apocalypse. Not the porno, but the actual intellectually stimulating documentary on, of course, black holes and this giant gravitational wave that was released by 2 colliding black holes that took billions of years. And then the LIGO, it kind of looks like the CERN Super Collider, but it's made by these 2 guys in the United States. Took 40 years, hundreds of $millions to process, and they use light manipulation and sound waves. And a couple years ago, this one dude that was operating the machine was like, you know, it's my last hour here. I'm gonna pack it in. And they turned off all the equipment, and all that buzzing and humming of the equipment, everything stopped. And because he did that, they were able to capture at the perfect time that very day the gravitational wave that took billions of years to finally reach Earth. And it just sounds like a little whoop. And that's it. And that proved the existence of black holes. And those 2 guys won the Nobel Prize. Wow. Sorry for yelling.
Wow.
Wow. How many wows would you give that?
That's a 3 wow.
Wow.
3 wows out of 5 or 10? How do you usually calculate that?
Out of 5.
About
It's like a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10 wows.
Wow.
Got an Owen Wilson.
Impressive.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, with all the hum of all the machinery and everything, who's to say that there wasn't gravitational waves blasting through all the time? But with
That's
the
true.
hum of all the machinery, they just never picked it up.
That was one of the caveats, I might say.
I did read about recently about a couple of giant black holes colliding and merging, basically.
That is impressive. Just when they start talking about the sheer size of these, there's super massive black holes, and then they have ultra massive black holes, which would essentially encompass Earth all the way past Mars.
That's all?
Big. Yeah. Well, excuse me. Considering the infinity of the universe, not that big. Whatever's big out there, there's always something bigger. There's always a bigger fish. Oh, they could consume galaxies, I bet.
Like a galaxy,
absolutely,
or at least
like
a solar system.
Guarantee you there's world eaters out there. There's galaxy eaters. Destroyers of sentience. So it blows my mind. Something fierce. I get off on it.
Yeah, very interesting.
I've never been so fascinated by something I know so little about. There's that quote where if you think you know what you're talking about in astrophysics, you don't know anything about astrophysics. We know nothing. Perhaps the human mind is not designed or incapable of comprehending what we need to know for interstellar travel and just getting to that next tier of civilization where we harness powers of the sun and then finally reach interstellar travel, that speed. But how do we do that in these meat bags that we call bodies? I don't get it.
Well, something comes to mind. I mean, there's, I think interdimensionally, possibly if we could find a way into another dimension, maybe we wouldn't be beholden to the same physics that we're dealing with in our reality.
Exactly. All right, that's my guess at what's on the other side. That's one of the questions. We can get to it and come back and keep coming back. We'll round back to these questions. But on the other side of black holes, through that singularity, I feel like there's different dimensions or some kind of parallel universe, but there's something else on the other side, because when they show you how it bends gravity, it almost looks like a tube that could open up somewhere else, because they quite literally say that black holes defy the laws of nature and what we know to be true. So why would it be impossible to be happening?
They can't defy the laws of nature. We just don't understand.
We don't know what they are yet.
We don't understand it fully yet.
I'll say relative to our comprehension of what nature can and cannot do, or whatever. I'm trying to use big words and sound.
I mean,
smart.
nature's gonna do what it's gonna do. We just gotta try to figure out how it does.
That's the task.
Indeed.
That is the task. That would be. You wake up every day. We're just having a general conversation about this for and giggles. But for this to be, you need grant money to get paid, and you need to figure stuff out. You need to show that you've been grinding and that your experiments are...
Got to show your work.
You got to show your work. I hated showing my work after an essay. That would suck. Essay. After a works cited page with an annotated bibliography. Get it out of here. Is my opinion not enough, Teach? Shouldn't my grade be warranted?
Yeah, I don't.
Based on my opinion.
But survive doing all that.
I have some questions. Would you like to... Here,
yeah,
cosmic.
Let's
get to these cosmic.
Fire
cues.
away.
I will be using my Owen Wilson. Wow, sound effect many a time. I'm trying to get in more movie clips and sound effects.
Wow.
To delight the audience. They will be delighted. So let's see here. Yes, the question I asked pre-recording. Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh.
How do you think the influence of science in society, say mainstream? How do you think it would have been affected if Carl Sagan and Neil deGrasse Tyson weren't as charismatic or able to speak the language of us small folk, or us commoners, us peasants? Because they're able to explain it in a way that is no less confusing, but it's somewhat digestible if you rewind it about 10 or 12 times. Because Carl Sagan is such an amazing speaker. His blue dot monologue at the end of his version of the cosmos. Neil deGrasse Tyson is he's modern, he uses social media, and he's able to convey these outrageously complex theories and thoughts and ideas to us small folk. Do you think if they weren't around, or they're just your average nerd, couldn't speak for how that would affect society?
For sure. I'd say they have a huge impact. I think that they're hugely impactful, and especially with how complicated things can be now, or even advances in science. Things are crazy, the amount of technology that everybody has, like in their pocket, in their hands,
and we take it all for granted.
Work, everywhere.
The power kind of surged a little bit here in the lunchbox.
You're just recording this, right? This isn't going out. The NSA ain't listening yet.
Them. Let them listen. I mean, it's not live, but
the internet, but
a little bit. I mean, they're listening to us on our phones anyway. Surprise, motherfuckers! We're talking about
issues.
They're like, get these guys. It's all good.
Especially with, I don't know, Neil deGrasse Tyson engages with the social media and stuff like that, and puts a lot of stuff out there that, like you said, he puts things in ways that more people can understand it.
He speaks English.
And yeah, I mean, if you ever spent any time on like a college campus, start talking to anybody in any of those science departments, like it's almost like they're speaking different language. If people can understand it, they're more likely to be interested in it, you know?
Have more conversations about it.
And you know, they have very personable, you know, personalities. You know, they just generally are likable people, you know, or, you know, I guess relatable, or just the way that they talked.
Right.
People, you know, saw them maybe as a scientist, but more primarily as like a communicator.
Isn't that funny that the human race values someone's ability to present, how to speak, so much more than what they're speaking about, perhaps? Because the subject matter that they're speaking on is, I'm not going to say it's dull, but if you get some monotone schlub up there that does not have any zest, people don't follow it. But when you get these influencers, these charismatic dynamos like JFK, an amazing public speaker, Obama, amazing public speaker, it's like humans, they want a show almost. They want the theatrics. They want to be emotionally invested in what they're learning in. That's my take.
Yeah, I mean, all kinds of different people in different fields and stuff are, you know, can connect with people. You know, there's definitely a certain kind of personality that can just like connect with people. You know, so many different people, like on different levels. You know, there's not a lot of people that have that ability, and some people do, some people don't. You know, public speakers, some people couldn't get a word out, you know, standing in front of a crowd of people.
You got your Gandhis and you have your Hitlers. Amazing speakers, amazing influencers. I don't mean that in a joking, sadistic way.
Oh,
like,
man.
when you think about how he was
to Blueprint for Armageddon
he brainwashed a nation. But we'll get, honestly, that World War II can be another podcast. I'll write it down, sir, because I went to the museum in New Orleans. Holy shit. But again, podcast for another time. But I totally agree. Like, they have their skills, and I feel like they realized that they had a responsibility to use their public speaking and communication skills to get to just science in general to be influenced, because it's so. I think it's undervalued.
The way that he really shows like a lot of emotion. Like, he's really passionate about what he's talking about.
Absolutely.
Whereas I think a lot of people, I don't know, I've sat through, you know, biology lectures and
you fall asleep.
And they're just very dispassionate when they're talking about it. Like, no emotion. Like, these are the facts, and that's all I'm here to talk to you about, is just the facts. Like, not have any emotion towards it or anything.
I feel like when
is definitely important, so you don't have some sort of, you know, personal bias when you're, you know, being a researcher. But when you're communicating, and that's your job pretty much, you know, you got to have some passion behind it, and I think that feeds into it too, for sure.
That's a great point, because you never remember your dull teachers or the bad teachers because you associate such negative emotions. But some of my favorite teachers, Mr. Shuttleworth, Mr. Stark, Senora Hay, they taught in a way and so passionately, is when that information was received, I associate it with that passion, with this excitement that I'm learning it, and this is what the information is. And when teachers are able to expel their passion, their aura into the students, hopefully it's more receptive and it's easier to recall when there's excitement surrounding it.
Conveys a level of importance. So it can, rather than just reading some words off of a page, you know, it's not just what you say, but how you say it.
If the preacher isn't interested in it, why should I be? If they're just dull, I mean, some people are smart as hell, but unfortunately they're just socially awkward and need better communication. Like in A Beautiful Mind, Russell Crowe's an absolute dweeb, can't talk for beans, schizophrenic even.
No,
and he's just brilliant. It's just hard for him to communicate.
Brilliant people that are, you know, they have brilliance in one way of the mind, but not another.
I haven't heard
socially inept, and, you know, but they're brilliant in other ways.
So they're blessed, you know. They have their strengths and weaknesses, the multiple intelligences, as Einstein would say. I haven't heard, I don't think really any recordings of his speech of his or videos. I mean, I've seen quotes, I've read them, but I'm not familiar with his voice or his disposition.
Who's that?
Einstein?
Well, English wasn't exactly his first language, so
No.
probably
9.
9.
9, not 8, not 10. 9. But brilliant effing guy, though.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being that smart, that intelligent? And you're like, fuck, I have this
Go crazy.
responsibility
Go crazy.
to do.
I'm surrounded by idiots. I'm not even that smart, and I'm surrounded by idiots.
God, lordy. Lordy, can you imagine just. And to be socially accepted, you have to dumb yourself down or dumb your conversation down in order to be accepted.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, and that's why
Surrounded by idiots, Morty.
That's why people like that are important to be able to convey, especially as technology and science advances faster and faster. You got to have people that can talk to the unwashed masses and enlighten them every now and then in a language they can understand.
How funny. Enlighten is also a synonym of manipulate, perhaps. All the sheep out there. Enlighten. I mean, it's all about the phrasing, baby. It's all propaganda now. When you really think about it, communication skills are far more dangerous or sinister if used in the wrong way. Like I said before, Hitler. It's all about how you look at it. But we're going to stay on topic, dude. But I feel like that's somewhat related. We're talking science and whatnot. We've moved on from the influence. What do you think is on the other side of black holes, those singularities? Is it an afterlife? Is it only one alternate dimension?
It's a white hole sandwich.
You think that's on the ass end, the other side of the coin?
Of course.
What is a white hole from what you researched? You texted me about it the other day. What did you find out?
I haven't done any research. This is what I have put together in my own stupid brain.
Stupid brain. It's leaking through your ear.
So a black hole, all light and matter is sucked into the black hole. Nothing can escape.
It's insane gravity.
Okay. Mass and energy, like that never goes away. Like it just goes through some sort of state change.
Correct.
It just turns into something else.
But it never ceases to exist.
But it never, the balance is always zero.
Right.
So something has to happen to that.
That's what I'm thinking.
Something has to happen to that, in my opinion, that it spits out, and it's like on the other side of it, it's like a Big Bang. Another Big Bang.
Dude, I literally wrote that down. I literally wrote that down as one of the questions.
I'm not a scientist by any means. I totally just came up with that idea on my own. I mean,
totally
maybe somebody
original.
else has thought of it too, but I mean, that's just what I've put together.
No,
something has to happen to that light and matter.
Where does it go?
Where does it go?
It can't just be destroyed. I was thinking, I wrote it down, that out of the ass end of a black hole, it's that infinitely small point that just immense and infinite gravity are there. That has to. Where does the gravity go? If it's sucked in, everything that you said, it's sucked in and out of a white hole. I mean, what do they say about the Big Bang? It started at the point that is smaller than the head of a pin.
Yeah.
Kind of like the singular point of a black hole and not the other end.
It's funny, I was listening to some Startalk.
Startalk.
Queries on the way here. And
Yes,
somebody
sir.
was asking something to the effect of, how is it, to basically for Neil to lay it out, like how all this matter could have existed in such a tiny space. And I just thought, wow, that's interesting, because I think that tiny space, that's like the center of a white hole, which is on the other side of a black hole, which sucks down all this matter, compresses it through this tiny little space, and it comes blasting out at high energy.
In a Big Bang.
Like in Big Bang.
So every black hole is a
all over
potential
the place at all times.
So the definition of the singularity is an infinitely small point, right?
I have no idea.
Hold on, I think I actually looked it up.
completely uneducated.
We're humans.
Some of these words I use, I don't even know the definition.
We are entitled to our ignorance, sir. All right, so singularity, the state, fact, quality, or condition of being singular in physics and mathematics, a point at which a function takes an infinite value, especially a space-time where matter is infinitely dense, as in the center of a black hole.
Infinite value.
So I'm thinking out that other end is a Big Bang with the infinity of the universe.
Why is nobody listening to us, Sandwich?
I don't know. We're listening to each other, and that's all that matters. But is our universe, by definition, a singularity as it is infinite in all directions from where we're at right now?
No,
you're the center
because
of the
it's not
universe.
infinitely dense.
Is density, do you think, is a prerequisite?
When it's passing through the black hole, it's infinitely dense.
Oh, I hear you, because it has to pass into, dare I say, impossibility, and just spews out the other side and re-expands.
I don't know. The entropy train just continues humming along.
Entropy. What's the opposite of entropy? What is it? Where everything, the disorder entropy is disorder, and then
Entropy is the ever moving towards disorder.
yes, it's the Joker, anarchy.
So everything is twisted all apart, going into the black hole, blast through the white hole, big bang. And all of a sudden, everything starts to become organized again, and then it has to be.
Is that what a
pulled
white
apart.
hole? White hole is a big center of a Big Bang.
That's my opinion. I mean, I'm sure some scientist has somebody that's brilliantly smarter than I am has researched this, but this is just me pulling it out of my ace.
I know it looks pretty weird because you're naked right in front of me, and you're just pulling these facts.
See where I'm pulling?
Dude,
hold on.
You got these sticky notes. Yeah. Ooh. There's the quadratic equation.
That one.
Oh, God. Give me c squared plus a squared and give me b squared. And then you can give me d squared. Zing!
Shame. Shame. Shame.
I wouldn't be surprised that there's another world, another universe or existence on the other side of the black hole. Just
absolutely.
Another Big Bang taking place.
If you had a way to look through a black hole, you'd be like looking through it. That's a wormhole.
Yeah, that's
Boom.
what that's. Yeah. I think that. Oh, I haven't written down any wormhole questions, but I think a black hole is the closest thing we'll ever see to a wormhole.
That's gonna be the closest thing that we're ever gonna get to like faster than light travel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can ride a gravity wave, which. I don't know if you've seen Bob Lazar UFOs in Area 51.
I listened to his podcast on Rogan. Oh yeah.
No, I thought I don't know. I believe the guy.
Gotta take it with a grain of salt.
I
What
mean,
if he
because
could be
I've
a
heard
robot?
of-
For all
I
we
mean-
know, he's a robot and programmed to be like,
maybe we're-
oh, I'm getting migraines.
Well, maybe we're in the Matrix too, Sandwich.
I am the Matrix. The Matrix sandwich. Next question, per your request. Is the human mind limited by our comprehension? Is our evolution our very isolated piece of pie in this universe, aka Earth? We think in 3 dimensions. We know there's other stuff out there, but can our minds only comprehend so much?
Only people that you know of think in 3 dimensions.
Very true. Very true. But say the smartest person on Earth or just in general, or ever will be, are our brains only capable of so much knowledge?
Me a conspiracy nut, but I think there's people that are communicating with, further dimensions than what we're at.
Is it by their own merit?
There's like a dozen.
Is it by their own merit, or did something reach out to them
absolutely.
first?
They're taking crazy amounts of psychedelic drugs.
Oh. Well, that is
and
another can of wormholes.
Communicating with other dimensional beings.
To somebody else, we're the other dimensional beings.
Yeah.
I mean, why do they always have to be some sloppy sci-fi monsters? Per science fiction, but I feel like technology hasn't yet caught up to our imaginations. But if we can imagine it, I mean, good Lord, Da Vinci had all these war machines drawn out hundreds of years ago, and look at us now.
Egyptians were drawing helicopters like whatever.
Egyptians
2,000 years ago.
What if they're tapped into the afterlife? What if after through a black hole, maybe that's the gateway to the afterlife of whatever that is. It could be anything.
But
where
Sandwich, really the closest black hole, which I think there's a black hole at the center of every galaxy, right?
Yes.
And then there's some that are outside, just floating free balling.
Free ball. free
What's
hole.
the
Free
closest-
hole.
So even if you could use a black hole as a wormhole, what's the closest black hole? It's got to be multiple light years.
We got to
away.
get there first.
So it's like, yeah, you could jump halfway across the known universe, but if you got to go 5 light years to do it in the first
We'll be
place,
dead.
you're like, yeah, that
I'm thinking
unless we're also riding some sort of anti-gravity, or like riding a gravity wave, like Bob Lazar posits that he worked on at Area 51.
Here's a science fiction book for you. Are you ready for it? My idea of the one way that, say, we don't discover light speed. We send out a ship, and kind of like Interstellar, we have fetuses in there, clones of these amazing scientists, their physical bodies, and so they have to go light years. Only by the computer will judge by the time. It's like, all right, we have, say, 40 years before we get there. Let's start growing the humans, and then we transcend those scientists' intelligence in a computer. And then once they reach their destination, the black hole, the clones pop out of their vessels, their transcendence is reinserted into their brains. Oh, I'm back. I'm here. Like nothing ever happened. Although I'm a clone because my regular self wouldn't survive this trip. Like that has to be the only way.
Is, why do you need to have...
Why bother with the clones?
Why do anything? Like, how much resources does that take?
If we're at the point where we can clone and do all that.
I mean, if we're at the point where we're doing interstellar travel, like, they're going to have that figured out.
Why worry about the
why
the flesh?
worry about that? Because there will be some sort of reversed aging kind of thing that they've done at, like, a molecular level.
Oh, yeah, where they don't have to worry about clones. I'm thinking too small. But hear me out on this. The flesh holds us back. The flesh holds us back.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
our minds, it's our existence, our sentience that can travel through other places, that can time travel through space.
I don't know how realistic it is, but I mean, there's people talking about uploading their consciousness to some sort of supercomputer or something like that, and just like your body, your mind is separated from the body, and just now you live in some sort of cyberspace.
I think it might have been us
physical
that were
body.
talking about it last time, where the human race will evolve to the point where the physical body is no longer necessary, and all human existence, all human sentience has been uploaded digitally into the singular essence of being, where it's all humans, and there's no need for flesh anymore, so we could just bounce around, just be this all-knowing, this ever-present and intelligent super robot. Robot would be a supercomputer that is all human thought knowledge, just continuing to learn and run simulations, computations, binary out the ass. Yeah. And maybe harnesses the power of suns, siphons a little energy, bounces around from each one, exploring, learning more, getting into wacky adventures.
What kind of science fiction have you read, Sandwich? Any?
Over to my left, there's a book called Dark Intelligence by Neil Asher. I read about 30 pages, and it just, for some reason, it just was not tickling me the way I would like. So I'd say the closest thing, I guess, it's futuristic. Ghost Recon by Tom Clancy. Very good. Just futuristic weapons and whatnot. Not super sci-fi, but I guess it's fairly close. But I'll give Dark Intelligence another look. See, it kind of bounced around a lot.
A couple of classics. I got some Arthur C. Clarke.
Or the easy reads.
Visionary.
I don't want to
Yes.
think too hard, Matt. That'd require effort.
No, it's they're very good.
Very good.
Really very good.
How many wows would you give them?
Oh, out of 10?
Yeah.
Like an 8.
8?
Wow, 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 wow.
Owen Wilson
9.
wows or
Wow.
wow. Wow. Wow. You like a whispered wow, or are you more of like a wow, like loud?
Like
Let
a
people hear you.
Whispered wow, but like wide-eyed.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, like long. Yeah. There we go.
That's pretty good. That's
Yeah.
when you go to the Exploratorium in San Francisco.
Actually, I snatched up 2001 Space Odyssey
Ooh.
from one of the thrift stores up at Lake Tahoe, and I read that thing in like an afternoon. Maybe
Gold mines those are in Tahoe.
Yeah,
For
no, it
some
was,
reason, they got the secret
because
sauce.
I never really I read a lot of Stephen King and stuff growing up, and I read a few other authors, but I never really thought of myself as like some kind of sci-fi nerd or like a fantasy nerd or anything like that. So I never went towards it.
The rules. I should really
read
read
a
some.
handful of things, and I dig it, man. There's some really good authors for sure. Isaac Asimov. I was just thinking you were talking about the, having like the all knowledge of the human race.
Right.
He's got a story called The Last Question. It's like,
why?
I'll send it to you. It's like you can get it in a PDF. It's like
in the short story?
5 pages.
Give it to me.
Excellent. Multivac.
Ooh.
Is the name of this supercomputer, and it goes through the stages of how this supercomputer evolved. And they're talking about entropy. How can you reverse entropy?
Gravity?
That's the last question. And then
To bring everything back to a singularity.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to...
We're back. We're back.
It's good to see what the other side thinks and what they're saying.
That gives
so
you-
you're not totally oblivious to it.
No, you need to listen to all of it so you have a better and more well-rounded opinion of something or view on something, because you'll hear it and you'll say, all right, I hear you. I still disagree because X, Y, and Z. You're not just saying, no, with your fingers in your ears and closing your eyes and spinning around in circles like a jackass. Why not hear out the other side? That doesn't mean you have to agree with them. Doesn't mean you need to prove them wrong.
Children's books?
Children's books, indeed. And by children's books, I mean I got another saucy question. What's your, first of all, before that saucy question, what is your favorite sauce if you had to choose one? Like a pesto basil? Sauce.
For what?
Mayonnaise?
For what?
Anything. You got a sauce?
There's a very broad, like, spaghetti. Like, on what?
Is it spaghetti sauce? Is it pesto? Is it barbecue sauce?
Is it Chinese food?
It could be teriyaki sauce. What's your favorite sauce?
Favorite sauce of all sauces?
What if you?
I mean, it's got to be like a meaty, chunky spaghetti sauce.
If you had to take one sauce to rub on your nipples for the rest of time, you thinking like a chunky spaghetti sauce for that idea?
I'd have to rub on the nipples to eat though, sandwich.
They'll be eaten off your
to rub on
nipples.
the nipples, it'd be like some sort of like avocado, cucumber.
That does sound
something
pleasing.
Soothing and
What about
feel good on your skin.
What about the sauce to put in your mouth hole? What's that sauce?
That would be the
Teriyaki? Spaghetti. Chunky
the
spaghetti.
chunky, meaty spaghetti sauce.
Meaty.
Yes.
A little garlic
Good.
in it? A little
of
garlic?
course.
Crimson red? Lanzas. I can't wait for that in Tahoe this year. So, talking about human comprehension, what little there
do you think
is.
that I'm at the? You think we're at the limit of human?
Do you, is
I
our
don't think
mind
we're
even capable?
close.
That may
I
be.
don't think we're close.
It's like we're not finding new things and advancing technology.
Exactly. I mean,
We're still going.
Technology's advancing ever faster. How can you say that we're at the end of our comprehension? I mean, there's definitely like whatever.
Maybe I'm just impatient.
Long-standing unsolved math equations and stuff like that, but there's always been that stuff.
Right. Is the next step artificial intelligence? And do you think that we're just getting too Elon Musk? We're all too uppity about the danger that AI could represent. Because I think hackers, if anybody would have a handle on things, because I used to write for this company called Symantec, and what cyber hackers, the black hats, are able to do is insane. They can hack into infrastructure. They can shut down nuclear plants. They could, dare I say, they could hack into Teslas if they wanted to, ram that motherfucker into a presidential vehicle during a parade. Hackers, and they keep learning. So so what happens is they get blocked in one attempt. And cybersecurity is like, all right, we did it. The hackers will find another way. They're intuitive, and I hate to say it, they're bright as hell.
Oh, for sure.
Hell. It's amazing.
So how are we talking about this?
The next step in human evolution. Is it artificial intelligence?
Step in human evolution is,
Sorry, I went off on a tangent. It was fun to write about.
Physically wise, like
Will our minds have to evolve past this meat bag that we walk around in right now?
I mean, transcend our physical form.
Yeah, are we due to be robots, or
upload our consciousness into some computer?
or will we, because
What
we're
happens when the
sentimental
computer
beings?
gets unplugged or the freaking power goes out?
Because are humans not sentimental to a ridiculous degree at times? What if we develop a chemical or some kind of blood transfusion that keeps our skin organic, tougher, more durable, anti-aged? We're just these immortal beings with this highly advanced technology flowing through our veins.
I mean,
Boom, another book.
Whoever wants to be immortal is going to have to transcend the physical
That's
form.
gonna. I don't think the human mind could comprehend and. Like, we'd be like, all right, 5,000 years, you're going to get bored. And I don't think our minds are built to withstand immortality. Everybody you know would die unless everybody's immortal with you or there's some kind of change. We're due for these lifespans.
Yeah, I mean,
So
you
that does
won't-
not compute.
I don't know, they still got to find the cures for all the diseases that kill people.
How necessary are they? I sound like a madman.
Like, they can
I
reverse
say that,
the
but-
aging of the cell, but if you end up getting some,
I'm against it, dude.
pancreatic cancer or something like that, I mean, what good does anti-aging do? You're still going to die
Right.
of cancer.
Right. I mean, I'm not going to say that cancer, like, I have a buddy who lost his mom to pancreatic cancer, and it sucks. And
No, I didn't mean to make a joke out of it.
Oh,
or
no, no,
anything,
no,
But I
no.
know that
I-
the death rate in the pancreatic cancer is super
Oh,
high. Right?
no,
so it's like if you got it,
you're
it's like a
done.
death
You're
sentence,
done.
you know?
I was just saying that, be it as it may, how horrible it is and its effect on families, disease and natural selection are a huge part of what's going to keep this planet in check. There's way too many people on this planet. We're just eating everything. We're polluting the out of this place, and we're just consuming all the resources, all the cheese.
You know what though? I mean,
I say as I hug a tree, smoke its bark.
It's not that there's not enough food to feed everybody.
Yeah.
And not enough land to give everybody a house.
There's just too many of. There's a lot of land. I drove through Texas,
Yeah, I mean,
dude.
but
There's a
the
lot
thing
of
is, though,
land.
Is
There's a lot of land.
Who was it? Somebody made
The mic
made a
wants you,
joke
Matt.
Like, well,
wants
you
you.
need to, there's this African tribe where these people walk 5 miles a day to get fresh water.
Dear God.
Like, what the hell are you doing? Why don't you move 5 miles so you don't have to walk 5 miles every day to get fresh water?
Maybe it's so they
It's
don't
like the
take
Sam
it for
Kinison
granted.
joke is like making fun of starving
Sam
children in
Kinison.
Africa. Like, you're starving. Here, we're freaking throwing away half of the food that we're buying.
Yeah.
Like, move where the food is. Like, you want me to ship food to you? Why don't you move where the food is? The fact is, like, there's enough food to feed everybody.
Right.
But it's just how you got to figure out a way to do it.
Well-
It's not that enough food can't be produced. It's that we can't
getting it to everybody.
distribute it to
But we have the
people.
capabilities. There's just no money in it. It's like we can't ask these tribes to leave their ancestral plains, their ancestral home for generations.
Why
of,
not?
Because that's where they're like. That's.
Okay,
I bet it means a
hold
lot
on,
more to them.
Sandwich.
It's like sacred
What do we
ground.
owe- what does Henry Ford owe the Carriage Drivers Association? Not a goddamn thing. He invented something that was better than it. He figured out a better way to do it.
Right.
I don't feel bad about the freaking guy that lost his job because they don't make freaking horse whips anymore. You know? It's like, yeah, you had this great way of doing things. Maybe things were more plentiful in your ancestral time in that place. But if you're starving and you don't have any clean water to drink, like, I don't know, I think a lot of them are kind of some war-torn areas, too, where, like, they don't have a place to go.
Well, I wouldn't say like it would be a bad idea for them to move. That'd be incredible if they were all shipped to a refugee place in the United States or something. But these starving,
figure out a way to get more food to them somehow, because it's not that enough food can't be produced. It's just we haven't figured out a way logistically to get it to the people that need it.
and that's what needs to happen because they don't have the means to get over here unless they're kidnapped and smuggled in cargo ships. Yeah,
Anyway,
absolutely.
children's books?
Children's books.
Talking about starving children in Africa on
Well,
a fucking space podcast.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it goes there. It's this. Think of the conversation as a nice, round, thick trunk of a pine But sometimes you get spurred off, and we create nice little pine cone thoughts.
Anyways,
Humans,
the edge of human
comprehension. So I mean, even think about those tribesmen that, if they are tribes and they're told to move, which they should, just to give you closer to the food, just in correlation to having to walk 5 miles to it.
But then again, a lot of those hunter-gatherer tribes and stuff like that. Well, the water buffalo and everything was a whole lot more plentiful before poachers and all kinds.
The white man.
It's not necessarily the white man. I mean, there's plenty of non-white people doing some horrific things.
I mean, of course, but come on, the United States was paved in.
We're the biggest boogeyman.
The road to the West was paved in blood.
But yeah, we should be able to figure out a way to.
It's 2019.
There's people figuring out ways to help people that need.
There are. One really cool. One last tangent before we go back. There's an ad campaign we saw, and people in this Indonesian community weren't getting enough iron in their diet. They're getting sick a little too often. So, a way that scientists or people decided to help them was, here's this little brick of iron, and they boil so many noodles and stir fry. Just put that little brick of iron, and then it'll slowly dissolve, and it'll put the iron that you need back in your diet, in your bloodstream. But they were using it, but putting it under their table. They just didn't care enough. They're like, why am I going to put this brick of iron?
They didn't understand or believe in what they were.
They just didn't. They didn't care. They didn't believe in it exactly. So what happened was they did some research and found that fish are good luck in this culture's lore. So they whittled these bricks of iron into the shape of a fish, so it meant good luck. So everybody took one.
Okay.
Everybody took one, and it was cool. I mean, it helped out. It was creative. Thinking outside the box.
Figure out a way to...
Shape of a fish. Who would have thought? Humans talk about human stubbornness or just unwillingness to change with the times. You got duped, bro. Fish is iron. Steelheads. Oh, you would have loved that baseball stadium in Vacaville. But that's another digression that we won't get into just yet because we got another question. We're going back to the multiverse theory. Like, if it's never thought of, would it still exist?
Regardless of if there's humans or even any kind of sentient being or anything, that's, I mean, aside from trying to find some sort of purpose to everything,
that's the fuel,
isn't it? It's going to go through every iteration of every whatever cell-to-cell combination possible, which there's billions and billions, and that's how many multiverses there are. Every
infinite.
Possible, combination of matter being put together, every possible version of the Earth. Say the Rocky Mountains are, in the Midwest instead of frickin' going through Colorado or something like that. Every possible combination. So yeah, there'd be every possible version of sandwich.
So, do you think that every possible infinity in our mind is only based around our comprehension? Do you think it goes beyond that, things that we can't even think of? Like when I was saying earlier, just because we haven't thought of or discovered something yet, does that mean it doesn't exist? Just because we haven't discovered yet? Like you said, the Rockies were there probably billions of years ago, but humans didn't even know that existed until they walked across the ice bridge. I mean, what's the difference? Is it us seeing it? Do humans need to see it, observe it, and try to quantify it before it exists? So I guess my question is existence based on human comprehension?
No.
Long-winded question, I apologize.
No, just like any, a scientific fact doesn't care if you believe it or not.
True.
It's still a scientific fact.
That's what it is.
So,
no. Until humans discover them, because existence, I guess, is based upon us, right?
What do you mean?
What we see. Because that was actually another question. Let me look it up. All right. So existence. It's a noun. The fact or state of living or having objective reality. So, I'm just saying...
I think, therefore I am.
Exactly. and say a rock. It doesn't think, but it still exists because it's there, it's present, but I'm just saying, if humans didn't exist, if human thought or no thinking ever occurred, therefore I am, would things still exist if we weren't here?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Absolutely. What?
I'm just saying. I like, existence is based on what humans perceive.
I mean, I guess, I don't know, maybe.
Maybe, possibly.
Maybe. I mean, if there's nobody there to observe it, who's to say that it even exists?
True. Yeah, I guess
Tree
that's what I'm trying to
falls in
say.
the woods.
Yeah,
Nobody's
yeah.
there to hear it. Does it make a sound? Yeah, it makes a sound. I guarantee it makes a sound.
Right.
Just because we're not there to document it doesn't mean, or there to experience it or whatever, means that it never happened. Right this
Even
very
horizon.
moment that nobody's documenting, but is happening, there's a bear killing something and eating it, you know?
Was he having an elk? A moose?
Maybe. I don't know.
A man?
But there's all kinds of things that are happening, and just because we're not there to document it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. You know, the Big Bang happened. We weren't there to fucking document that, but everybody's pretty confident that
Matt,
happened.
you fool. God created everything. What are you,
In
dumb?
6 days?
In 6
and then
days.
rested on the 7th?
Big Bang's still working on it, like the bitch that he is. Meanwhile, God, a.k.a. Dios, Allah, or Ric Flair, whatever you want to call God, boom, 6 days, and was able to smoke a blunt on the 7th and watch
No,
the
you know
Vikings.
what? Actually, I had, I don't know, I went to Catholic school growing up, and
You drink the punch?
it's been a lot, I mean, of course.
I had a lot of
But
punch.
it seemed like, I don't know, I remember asking our priest about dinosaurs. 'Cause I don't know, somebody said that, like, oh, dinosaurs never were, or not real or whatever, and, like, I was kind of a dinosaur nerd, a little kid.
What'd he say?
And he said that, like, the Bible is all written in, like, stories and metaphors to, like, teach you lessons.
Right.
And how to live your life and stuff. He's like, you can't take it all literally. Just because the Bible said that the earth was created in 6 days, you know, like, you don't know what a day was.
True.
How long is a day in the beginning of time? Is it a billion, a trillion years? You know, how long is a day?
Isn't it funny how...
If there's no sun that you're, you know, spinning around, how long is a day?
Because time is a human construct.
A
Time
day is just how long it takes the earth to rotate, right? What if you're not sitting on a planet and rotating? Is there such thing as a day?
No, there's no such thing as
So-
time. There's no such thing as time.
I don't know. That's just something I remember that so clearly, and just
Yeah.
it had an impact on me. Like, okay, well, so the religion and science can totally coexist. Just because we can't, there's, you know, not that God created everything in 6 days, and that's how we're here right now. But I don't know. It just had an impact on me that like
that
you could
was
believe in, like, this higher power, but also believe in all the science and all the research, and always want to be going for more knowledge and stuff, and how that could, like, coexist. So I don't know, that, you know, I just remember that.
if more preachers and if the media would portray it as much of just how rationally and well thought out that guy said it, because all the media, all you see are these crazy zealots holding zealots might not be the right word, but they're just holding snakes, or they're just making outrageous claims. They're holding up signs that say God hates fags. There's all the everything that's all encompassing.
People are just trying to make money doing
Oh,
that,
God.
you know.
If
People are just trying to make money.
a more well-rounded point of view was distributed and spoon-fed to the idiots that believe everything they see on the news or the internets, there would be a better overall representation, not only Catholicism, but every religion. And I mean, I'm assuming every religion has well-rounded thinkers that don't give two to how you feel as long as you live your best life as a good person. Yeah. They would never force it upon you. But to have science and religion coexist, there'd be a lot less hubbub on the streets. Know what I'm saying? Going wild. Don't even get me started with politics. Talking about coexistence.
Well, I mean, I think most religious people don't, at least in the United States, don't really have a problem using the luxuries of technology.
Here's a question my mom presented to me the other day when we're watching the black hole apocalypse. Where they're talking about the black holes, and Mom was like, "Hey, yo," she didn't say that, but she's like, "So does that mean like God exists? Because black holes exist, and they say within inside of them, like we said earlier, that nature is distorted, impossibility is abundant. So why?
So it's taking all the matter from one universe, eventually.
So if black holes exist and it could do all this, have this power of creation, destruction." Why cannot to God?
I like it big.
Because isn't that kind of indicative or all powerful and similar to what God would be like? If it is a creator, a destroyer, mover, or giver of life, godly.
I mean, you'd be kind of saying that he's taking a very active role, or is he just starting some machine up that he made?
I mean, it's possible he's working on a better design of humans while we're here.
Sitting here watching and manipulating everything all the time, or is he just cranks up the old reality machine for humanity?
He's giving us a shot right now.
Gives it 20 turns, and then, that spins it for 10,000 years, and then everything comes crashing down when it stops, and he's like, let's crank it up again and see what happens.
Who's to say? Who's to say? Everything is possible. Anything is possible.
No, I think we're definitely moving towards like a Black Mirror type future.
We're there, dude. There's kids committing suicide because they're getting cyberbullied. I mean, that sucks. It's horrible, but we need to be stronger. Like, kids need to be preached to that nothing that happens in school, like everything in high school and college to a certain degree, does not matter. I mean, I wasn't bullied or anything like that, but just how seriously kids take high school, what the social order is, it means nothing in the grander scheme of things.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
Black Mirror.
I think it's families not as I think it's all the degradation of the family is what's driving all that.
Doesn't it just kill you when you see a family of 4 at a fast food restaurant, all of them are on their phones?
It does.
Doesn't that just bother the shit out of you?
It does. But if I'm sitting eating some Mickey D's or something like that, I'm sitting there by myself or whatever, I'll just
That's fine.
bust out the phone. But if I'm sitting there eating with somebody, I expect that the phone is not going to be out.
Yeah. It's disrespectful. And I can't stand it when I'm trying to have a conversation with somebody and they're looking down on their phone and I ask the question and then they take a solid 10 seconds to
if you're like on a Tinder date or something like that and this chick is just looking at her phone, I mean, granted you're probably not even going to dinner, but if you were and she's just looking at her phone, would you like dine and dash on somebody like that?
I would send her a picture of Mr. Murphy and leave.
Oh.
To the uninitiated, Mr. Murphy. So when we're
that.
I'll give the backstory. Whenever we mention Mr. Murphy, just know when you pick papers for 8 hours at a time at the landfill, the conversation you have with your compadres slips into the depths of madness. And we always talk about, hey, how much money would it take you to run into a brick wall or do some lewd sexual acts for undisclosed amount of money? So we decided, we made this character named Mr. Murphy. This is be the guy that always has enough money to make you do what you said you'd never do. Whatever that may be. Let your minds go wild. Like I said, theater of the mind. I don't know how I came across it. Maybe it was sent to me at some point, but...
I didn't even know the backstory.
Here's the backstory.
I just know what he looks like.
Yeah, it's... just as a prank, we found this photo of African American genitalia. Oh, well, now everybody's on the inside joke. They're all outside, now they're in. God bless them. Now they're going to send pictures of Mr. Murphy to everybody. So just as a...
Your grandma's going to listen to this?
She might send that to all the aunts. Can you imagine Grandma Barb just... Mr. Murphy bombs all the sisters. Let's go. So the prank is you just send this picture of this well-endowed African American fellow to your friends and cohorts, and just in the middle of their day, it's unexpected, it's unbecoming, and I would be on my MacBook at work many a time and have my phone sync to it and just Messenger pop up in the workplace this well-endowed African-American fellow, codename Mr. Murphy.
Everybody want to be a bodybuilder. Right. So nobody will lift this heavy ass weight. Go! I do it though. Yeah!
So we talked about entangled particles. We talked about
That's interesting.
singularities.
I did not know that about Mr. Murphy.
Yeah, that's the backstory.
Okay.
He's the guy that has the money.
I just know what he looks like.
Big. Panoramic.
Yeah.
Man, we talked about black holes. We've been knocking off some of these questions. You know what? I have an idea. I found some quotes. Top 11 outer space quotes to ponder and inspire, and I would like to know how they make you feel, what they inspire, and how hard your nipples get. Perhaps the number of wows for each quote. There's a pile over there. Next time, burp into the mic, please. Thank you. Yes! You're talented, sir. Quite thusly.
You gotta entertain the kids.
Keep them entertained. This is a PG-16 show. So, the first one. So, yeah. The universe is a pretty big place. If it's just us, seems like an awful waste of space.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Why wouldn't there
I
be
totally
any more?
agree.
There's something else out there. There's everyone else out there.
It's expanding faster than we can observe it.
Good.
We will never see.
All of it.
We won't. It will be impossible by the current physics.
Is it just like it's a bubble? So what is outside of what we can see? Say the universe is expanding like a peach. So say the skin is where the universe is expanding at this moment. All we can see is the core. Is there just non-existence on the outside and planets just kind of manifest out of nothing?
No, you remember Men in Black?
Yeah.
The little collar that they're chasing after.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cat's collar. Why not that?
It just keeps going and going and going and going. Good Lord. All right, don't make my brain leak. We're not done with this podcast
Why
yet.
not? It's as good of an explanation
Hell,
as anything
If
else.
that ends up being the case, I'll be like, well,
I've got
Tommy
just
Lee
as
Jones.
much evidence for that as anybody else has for anything else.
And that is a true fact. Statement.
Well, maybe
proven.
not totally. I think that the Big
Well,
Bang, they've got a lot of data on
Oh, that. But just the explanation of what the infinity of the universe is.
Yeah, the
So,
infinity.
here's the next one. Matthew. Is it far better to grasp the universe as it really is than to persist in delusion, however satisfying and reassuring? So it's just accept the fact that we're these tiny little creatures, insignificant in the overall scheme of things, or do we just believe to stay in our tiny little bubble and stay here forever because we're too scared to accept how small we are and what the universe really is?
We're only as small as we decide to be.
I'd say it's go big or go home.
I mean,
Why not grasp it? It's there. Why pretend to deny the truth? Because it will always win. It's always going to be in the back of your head. So why not let that consume you? This truth. All right, here's one from Buzz Aldrin. You ready?
oh, okay, I like him.
Contact light. The actual first words spoken from the surface of the moon when Apollo landed on July 20th, 1969. Over 6 hours later, Neil Armstrong stepped onto the lunar surface and uttered the immortal line, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Contact light? I did not know that. What does that mean, contact light?
Means they landed softly. I imagine. I
Oh,
don't know.
contact light. As in the
I mean,
way.
guys, they were pilots, right?
Right. How did we lose that technology to land on the moon?
We didn't, man. We've been to the moon a bunch of times.
We have?
Yeah.
How ignorant am I? Here's one. When I first looked back at the Earth, standing on the moon, I cried. Alan Shepard, American astronaut, talking about his first time to the lunar surface during the Apollo 14 mission in February 1971. When I first looked back at the Earth, standing on the moon, I cried. First man to cry in space?
Maybe.
His tears are just floating around.
Maybe. I don't know. That'd be a pretty emotional.
Like floating
thing to be
crystals.
Like,
Very good.
that'd be a pretty emotional moment.
Contact light.
The culmination of like an entire life's work. You made every decision correctly.
He was on the moon. When you make it to the moon, you are there for a purpose. You are smart. You are driven. You are brave as f***. To have the balls. Surprisingly, you didn't crash on the moon because your balls are so heavy. Of all those guys and girls, balls are more of a metaphor, right?
Their own gravity.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. Here's one from a boy Carl. The universe seems neither benign nor hostile, merely indifferent. But a very Stephen King-like quote.
It's true, though.
It's just there. It's not here to kill you. It's just, this is it. This is reality. Enjoy the ride, mother flowers.
Nah, whether you're looking micro or macro level. I mean,
Indifferent is
indifferent.
perfect.
Little kids get cancer. You know? Babies die in car accidents. You know, it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens.
It does.
You know, just like everywhere else in the universe.
Some tigers eat
things
their
happen.
young.
Yeah.
Like, what would possess something? Does that not defy the very definition of survival?
What's that?
To hunt, kill, just to eat and reproduce? Isn't that survival?
That's the motivation of every living thing on the earth.
Maybe they were found unworthy, therefore tasty. But Carl, good God, these are very philosophical quotes.
Yeah,
very good. They just spur the imagination. All right, here's one.
He's a very philosophical kind of guy.
Here, men from the planet Earth first set foot upon the moon, July 1969 AD. We came in peace for all mankind. The words on a plaque left on the moon by Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong. Here, men from the planet Earth first set foot upon the moon, July 1969 AD. Little did they know there's a plaque on the other side of the moon that was from the people.
There's a monolith on the other side of the moon.
A monolith. Underground?
Yeah. No.
No?
No, like 2001.
Really?
Yeah. And on the moon of Mars.
Really?
Yeah. Says Buzz Aldrin.
He saw it?
Supposedly he told Alex Jones. You didn't listen to the podcast that Alex Jones was on Rogan? He was talking about it. He said, Buzz Aldrin told me. And then they looked it up. I was listening to it. I wasn't watching it, so I didn't see what they were seeing or whatever. But Jamie looked it up.
Of course.
There is a monolith. They got a fucking picture of it.
Be that as it may.
Phobos, the moon of Mars.
Oh, I would.
And he said, I want to say he said there was another one on the moon of Mars.
Dude, it tickles me.
I'm sorry, on our moon.
Yeah. That tickles me to no end. I love that that's there. And I hope we're able to discover more, learn more about those. When it comes to Alex Jones, however, the size of the grain of salt that I take with that man's words, let me tell you this. I would not want that salt to pass through my urinal tract.
Oh, man.
I would not want to pee that motherfucker out. That would be painful and require surgery. It's a big grain of salt, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
I like his enthusiasm.
It's like a snake trying to cough up an egg. Gross.
I mean, there's some crazy stuff going on these days, Sandwich.
There really is.
There really is.
I just hopefully
conspiracies really happen, man.
Hopefully, when we're all done, when we're worm chow, we'll get the answers.
Maybe
because we don't have to worry about these stupid bodies anymore. We just float around like
Black Mirror, the San Ramon or whatever.
Oh, the little resort area.
Yeah.
That'd be something.
You die and you get your consciousness uploaded to some freaking computer, and it's just like, man, you're just living in a retirement home for the rest of your life, or for the rest of eternity.
Would that? Do you think that'd be
weird, man?
Do you think that'd be hell after the first 500 years?
Yeah.
I feel like it would turn into hell. You're stuck there forever.
I mean, it's not like you're constrained by some physical form, though. It just says you can't decide, oh, I want to go check out something else.
Do you think if your intelligence...
dial to something else, and it's a different experience.
Hear me out. So, in Black Mirror, they had their intelligence, their sentience uploaded into the computer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does your soul... Is it connected to your sentience, or does your soul go elsewhere, and the soul leaves, but your intelligence and your personality has been digitized and uploaded? Because I feel like it is their soul, as the way the show portrays it. That's your transcendence. That's who you are.
Where's your soul?
I feel like it's separate. It leaves, like, your body dies, Your intelligence can be copied. That's just it, a copy. I think your soul is more pure and can't be digitized and quantified, and it goes into the infinite, the fourth dimension, whatever that may be. Oh, here's a question before I get to the next quote. God is omnipresent, right? Everything is made out of atoms, correct? Particles, like, doesn't matter what element it is, doesn't matter where you're at in the universe, atoms make up everything, yeah?
I think, yeah, right.
So is God the atom? Omnipresent, everywhere? We are he is we? Something like that.
Something like that, maybe.
Something to that. A facsimile thereof.
Facsimile thereof.
I love that. I always love you for that.
Why not?
Why not?
Why is
Kind of a
why
cool
can't
thought.
God be? Why can't God be science? People worship science as
I
if it was a
know.
religion, anyways.
I like that. I think it was a Seth MacFarlane quote where he compares religion to science. Like, religion claims itself to be true and without any evidence, and just it's based on faith, whereas science says something and then tries its hardest to prove itself wrong.
Yeah.
Whatever statement or thesis is made, science will bust its ass to prove it wrong and to tear it to pieces. Because its truth is what we seek.
I don't know. I just don't know why they can't coexist. I mean, there's a physical world, and then there's, religion isn't really based in the physical world.
Check this out. The universe is not required to be in perfect harmony with human ambition. Carl Sagan.
Human ambition?
Human ambition. i.e., time travel. I'm thinking. Or just being able to have floating cars
I
or
don't know.
levitation.
Yeah. Good
No.
ones. No, he's got a bunch of good ones.
I didn't feel like a giant. I felt very, very small. Neil Armstrong, famous American astronomer, scientist, looking back at the Earth from the moon. Felt very, very small. Good. I'm coming back in, and it's the saddest moment of my life. By Edward White, American astronomer, expresses his sorrow at the conclusion of the first American spacewalk during the Gemini 4 mission on June 3rd, 1965. It's the saddest moment of my life. That's pretty deep. He has to come back in from space.
Yeah. No, I mean that's gonna be the most
1965.
significant moment in the guy's life, and it's ending. And yeah,
We didn't
that's a
even
pretty sad moment.
we didn't even have wheels on the bottom of our luggage at that point, I don't think. And this guy's in space? Let's go.
We're still using leaded gas. like
Leaded gas.
savages.
Dude, we didn't use pepper, we just used ground up lead. Let's eat it. Caligula, let's go. Every one of us is, in the cosmic perspective, precious. If a human disagrees with you, let him live. In 100 billion galaxies, he will not find another. Again. That was good. Every one of us is, in the cosmic perspective, precious. If a human disagrees with you, let him live. In 100 billion galaxies, you will not find another human. That could be false. But given the context, it's like live and let live. This doesn't matter. We just don't get it yet. We're so petty human beings. We're still knuckle draggers. Now it's only a metaphor.
Just
saying.
killing that person. What does that solve? Nothing.
Well, you don't have to hear their stupid voice anymore. And that's what I'm saying.
You could gag him or something.
Gag them real good. All right, one more. Love you to the moon and back. Why is that on there? That's stupid. How anticlimactic was that? I'll give you a space quote. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Blah, 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 blah.
Did you listen to the podcast about the making of Star Wars?
No, I have not.
Intriguing.
Does it tickle thee?
I think you'd dig it.
Dude, we've been talking for an hour and 18 minutes, 26 seconds.
American Innovations.
Oh, yeah.
American Innovations. It's about, like, inventions.
American Innovation. Oh, hell yeah.
The guy that made rubber.
I'll make rubber.
Like, tires.
I'll burn
Goodyear.
rubber.
Alexander Goodyear. Like, tells the guy's story or whatever.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's good. I enjoy history. I enjoy these stories that I'm told.
Seems pretty well researched. High production.
How high?
Not super high.
Like Snoop Dogg or
Like a radio program.
Oh, that high. Very good. Sorry. I'm so silly.
Oh, you're sure.
What I'd like to do to wrap up these podcasts is just kind of go over some takeaways. What were some of your takeaways today? Just so people can leave with the pearl of wisdom with a smile.
Notepad in front of you. I don't even remember what we
Dude,
were
I'm just
talking
drawing
about.
wieners all over this thing. It's not English. For me, just whenever I see a picture of how small the Earth is and just how infinite the universe is, we all need to take a step back and just humble yourself, because we're all in this together. We're just these little meat bags living together. My takeaway is, because we're so small, let's all get on the same damn page and just... We all poop, Matt. Doesn't matter how rich you are. Doesn't matter what your skin color is. Doesn't matter how athletic you are, or what political affiliations you have, or religious cults that you follow. Everybody poops,
Yeah.
except for Kim Jong-un. He's a god.
Everybody's had to have somebody else wipe their ass until they were like
Something, man.
Until they were like 3 years old.
The universe just has so much. How much have we learned? Just astronomy, like you said, the Egyptians, and how we use the stars to navigate, and just we're seriously one with the universe. We're nothing but atoms. This whole Earth, everything here, nothing but atoms. We're just
Now
these.
it's organized.
It's all organized in
Organized
a very,
in a certain way, and this is how it looks.
and it's all in our
Organized
thoughts
in a different
now.
way, and it looks different.
That it is. Well, Matt, thank you for coming in. It's always a good time.
indeed.
It's a
It's been a
couple of
pleasure.
birds. It's always a good time with the lunchbox, eh?
Yes, sir.
Got you away from the wife and kids a little bit.
Now the evening is my own personal time.
You
everybody
night
goes to
prowling wolf.
Have your
Oh!
own time.
Can I get a howl? Oh! Howl at the moon, Matthew. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. And we'll get in someone to talk about some REI or something next time, or some Tahoe.
Alright, well, I think we'll probably be. Maybe we'll do the next podcast at Lake Tahoe.
Ooh. All right,
My brother's coming up the second weekend, but I'm gonna go up the first weekend. I'm just gonna go.
We'll
up
get
on, like,
something
Friday
going.
evening, come back on Sunday.
We'll get something going, mister. Big time.
Yeah.
Lonzos. All right, everybody. Love ya. Bye-bye.